Arsenal fans, good news. You should relax and float. I know most of you haven't hailed from the Moises Caicedo pullout and you disappointing Moises Caicedo for the second time in a space of 5 months. Mikel Arteta is a man who always has a long list of players that are really exciting onto his transfer ladder. And this time round, Arteta's gonna hate to identify Moises Caicedo alternative into this window. I like the boy, still young, and let's roll into this. Welcome to Rokani Media Football. How are you guys and where are you watching us from? I ignore by the names of Roque and David. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on the stories that we do upload here on a daily. So as it stands, it's really a very good evening, and Muslims, Juma Karim, Christians, how are you? And may the Lord Jesus really protect you abundantly. We are discussing Matt Turner, Arsenal goalkeeper for USA. You know what he did yesterday. If you never knew, I'm going to come up with it. And lastly, there is Victor Roque, was so much linked to Arsenal, and we're having a very huge update coming in from that side of Brazil and his links to Arsenal and Barcelona. Roque and David is my name. You can as well call me RD. Feel free to go onto the Twitter handle at Rokani Media FB or Rokani Media Football. Search for it. Follow us on Twitter because we don't upload every story. We don't do every story we put up. There are very many stories. By the way, we can put up close to 1,000 tweets on a day. So there are very many that are there, and that's where we pick some 2 stories we come here and do, because we want to do stories of 15 minutes involving 3 stories. So we cannot do long ones and really get you everything that you guys deserve. But if at all you feel like you want to get more information, rush on Twitter, follow us onto Twitter. And if at all you want to follow us via our link, description box below, that's where everything is. Now let's know, who is this Moises Caicedo alternative that Mikel Arteta has gone ahead to identify? Now, the first one was Miguel Delaney. He works as a chief football writer for The Independent. He confirmed to us that Arsenal are seeking to make Declan Rice and Lavia their new midfield for next season, with another bid to be put in for the West Ham captain and progress being made for Southampton youngsters. So Arsenal has identified Lavia as an alternative for Moises Caicedo. And I was going to let us know that Arteta noted how his side were occasionally outmatched physically in last season. In last season, he runs in and has sought to bolster the power of his side. Arsenal are not that advanced with Lavia, but are seen as his most likely next club. Now, who is Lavia? 19-year-old Belgian player, international, if at all you're not mistaken. He has gone ahead to do lots of things at Southampton, and guess where he was really got? He was really got by Kevin De Bruyne. Not Kevin De Bruyne, it was Pep Guardiola. Kevin De Bruyne was holding what we call a tournament down in Belgium, and this is where Pep Guardiola came to attend and scouted Lavia. That's how Lavia was brought at Man City, and he was sold at Southampton. Man City have a buyback clause that's supposed to be triggered next summer 2024 of £45 million, but right now they cannot stop the sale of Lavia as it stands. Now, Ninza Kinsella, is it Ninza Kinsella? No, I think it's Jacob Steinberg. He's a football reporter for The Guardian, has gone ahead and thrown a lot of light onto this ideal alternative for Moises Caicedo identified by Mikel Arteta. He has told us that Arsenal are targeting Southampton's Lavia after deciding to leave the path clear for Chelsea to push forward with a move for Moises Caicedo. However, Brighton's high valuation could lead them to look at alternative targets. Now, you've heard it all. Arsenal are in for Lavia. They are in for Lavia because he is one of those they understand is the realistic alternative for Moises Caicedo. And I'm gonna hate to let you know in a certain video, was it at Man United or here, that I think Arsenal did it in what we call a brotherhood or a businesshood mode. You know, let Caicedo for Chelsea, such that they negotiate with Brighton and let Chelsea get you Kai Havertz at a cheaper price. And now what they've gone ahead to do is they've left Caicedo for Chelsea, and they've identified their own Caicedo, and that is Lavia, who has gone ahead to have a very late season in the Premier League at Southampton. Though Southampton was relegated, but he's one of those players that are gone ahead to really make lots of progress into that Southampton side. Then Jacob Steinberg added and said Mikel Arteta wants to sign two midfielders, and his first priority is a deal for the West Ham captain Declan Rice. Arsenal will need to make Rice their record signing, and doing so is expected to stop them from entering the running for Moises Caicedo. That is known, no doubt about it. Arsenal are out of the Moises Caicedo deal because the Brighton side is hard to negotiate with, and he might really play what we call the L game. Now, on Lavia reporting lastly from Jacob Steinberg, Arsenal have held talks over moving for 19-year-old Lavia. There is growing belief he will end up at Arsenal. It remains to be seen whether Southampton will hold firm on their asking price valued at £45 million, with Arsenal likely to push for a lower fee. And I think for this deal of Lavia, it's easy for Arsenal to execute the deal. Do you know why? Lavia has been playing for Southampton, right? Southampton is one of the relegated teams, and they are playing the championship. When you look at Arsenal, they are having some huge number of players that are really talented from the academy that they can send to Southampton to really simplify this bid, right? Now, Lavia, £45 million. If I'm Arsenal, I go in for it. I pay 30 up front and £15 million of add-ons because he's a quality player. If you've seen him play, he's a quality player. And the beauty with him is that he won't come in at Arsenal and push for a starting spot. No, he will go on and really get his playing time at Arsenal. You know, some games he will start, some games he won't start. And Arteta will convince him and tell him that Thomas Partey and Jorginho, one of those is leaving next season. So there is room for you to come in, use this season, 2023, 2024, to settle in. After settling in next season, you'll compete for the starting position in that CDM area, because Declan Rice can be playing alongside you and Odegaard. So I think Lavia and his agents will love to come in and play for Arsenal. After playing for Southampton and having a very good breakthrough season at Southampton, this is supposed to be the ideal step for him to take, you know, because there will be teams like Spurs coming in through for Lavia, but the agent has to put into consideration that Lavia as a player doesn't need to go on to play for teams who have hostile bosses, because he's having a very high ceiling. Anytime, Lavia will find himself in a position of wanting to go and play for a huge side. So if at all Arsenal comes in now, they're offering Champions League football, they're giving a good salary, you know, they are playing in 4 competitions. That is Arsenal for you this season. So you can't tell me that when it's FA Cups, Carabao Cup, Lavia won't get a start. Even in some Premier League games, Lavia will go ahead and obviously get a start, because I've always told you what I like about the managers like Mikel Arteta, Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, and Erik ten Hag. It's simple. They pick players on merit, non-favoritism. You know, if Lavia goes ahead and performs better during the training sessions at Arsenal, trust me, the manager will obviously go for him. We've seen Mikel Arteta do these things. You know, how does Bukayo Saka come into play and knock out or give Pepe a kick in the teeth from the starting 11 of Arsenal? When Arteta came in through, he shifted Bukayo Saka to play as a right attacking midfielder or a right forward, and that's where Nicola Pepe was playing. So when Nicola Pepe failed to prove himself and Bukayo Saka went ahead and raised the bar so high, guess what Arteta did? Arteta said, I won't go out and really fumble out with Pepe. Pepe, I want you out. Let Bukayo Saka lead this position. And Saka's gone ahead to really prove him right. And Arsenal is the ideal destination for Lavia. Do you know why? He has gone ahead to show to it that he can bring in young players to go ahead and really play ahead of old players. William Saliba, 21 years of age. He's one of the best players I've seen in the Premier League last season in the central defense. Look at Emile Smith-Rowe, Martinelli Gabriel. Look at Bukayo Saka. So he has shown us that he's really a manager who believes in young talent, and Lavia can use that as a benchmark to join Arsenal. And I think if Arsenal are serious on this deal, they can get it over the line in a space of like 1 or 2 weeks, because Ramel Lavia is one of those sorry about that has really gone ahead to excite many. But even City can come in through. With City losing Ika Gundogan, they might come in through, and obviously say Southampton, we want to get in this player. But let's wait and see how that is going to happen as far as this is concerned. Now, leaving that deal of Ramel Lavia aside, let's go to Victor Roque. You all know that he has been linked to Arsenal, as Edu is having good links in Brazil. One of those youngsters that has gone ahead to score very many goals at the age of 19. He looks like Gabriel Jesus. He's a clinical finisher. And Roger Torello has told us that Victor Roque will be a Barcelona player. It's done. The club will sign him for 35 plus 10 million euros. If there is enough financial fair play rule margin, he will start next season as a Blaugrana. Otherwise, he will be loaned out to Atletico Paranense for 1 more year. That is his club where he plays for. So Barcelona are willing to really sign the player. Most people say it's a done deal. They've progressed into this deal, but he's a player that Arsenal are looking at. But Arsenal doesn't believe in buying players like him, you know, at that amount of money. And Arteta has gotten to know that most of the players I signed last season outside the Premier League have not gone ahead to hit the ground running, and all I need are Premier League proven players. That's why whenever a chance arises for Arsenal to get a chance to sign a Premier League player, Arteta rushes to go on and do that. That's why they cannot go in for Victor Roque at 45 million euros to pay it, because they know that it's not a business that is worth doing, because Marquinhos was loaned. Look at Fabio Vieira, he's struggling. And the only players that have gone ahead to thrive at Arsenal are those that Mikel Arteta has gone ahead to sign in the Premier League this season. In the summer, he signed Jesus, Zinchenko from the Premier League, right? And they're all doing well. Then in the January transfer window, he signed Leandro Trossard and Jorginho. They're all doing well. And right now, the levels of Arsenal have gone ahead to the next level. Arsenal doesn't want to get in players that are not going to hit the ground running and who are really Premier League ready. You know, they raised the bar. The anticipation from the fans is really high, and Mikel Arteta knows that it can result into a very huge spark to see to it that he loses his job at Arsenal if at all he doesn't get in players that are going to fit the right call of this Arsenal side. So I think that's why they're not going for Victor Roque, but it looks like Barcelona have gone ahead to really get their man finally. But the FFP, that is the financial fair play rule, might not allow him to come in through and really play for Barcelona. And so Barcelona are really pondering onto a thought of loaning him back to Paranense for 1 more season as they clear up their financial constrictions at the club of Barcelona. It's not that they don't have money to spend. They have money to spend, but that money is not footballing money. That's it. So they want money that is made of football to spend, and they have to spend they have to sell 210 million euros to get themselves back into a mode of really signing in more players, the club of Barcelona. So Victor Roque looks like to Barcelona is done. Lastly, let's talk about Matt Turner, a man who really played into what we call the Nations League and kept a clean sheet for USA, and he did the needful. And congratulations to Matt Turner. He was the goalkeeper of America as they beat Mexico 3-0 during the CONCACAF semifinals in Las Vegas, and that takes them to the finale. And he is a very good goalkeeper, and he's one of those that Mikel Arteta went ahead to sign, and obviously he showed us how good he is. And I liked that. I liked the signing of Matt Turner. It showed us how broad Arsenal's eye of scouting is. Arsenal can get a player from Brazil, they can get a player from America, they can get a player from Asia, they can get a player from Portugal, Spain, Premier League, they can get a player from Africa. So their scouting network is really broad that you just can't fail to be excited on how they're really doing their business. So guys, your thoughts onto Arsenal identifying Moises Caicedo alternative as Ramil Lavia are welcome into the comment section below. What do you make about Matt Turner and Arsenal losing out onto the Victor Roque deal, as he has gone ahead to agree a deal with Barcelona? Rokani David remains my name. Muslim friends, Juma Karim, and the Christians, may the Almighty Lord bless you abundantly, and I cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. Me out for now. Ciao, ciao.